Home Base, it's all about the home. Home decor, interior and exterior design, choosing paint colors, picking out rugs, organizing closets, being productive in your home office, and so much more. Let's jump right into today's episode with Southern Inspirations partner, Shepherd Organizing Solutions. Good morning, everyone. I'm Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations, and I'm back again with Paige Shepherd from Shepherd Organizing Solutions. Hey, Paige.
Hi, Michelle. It's good to be back again. I say that every week, but I mean it.
Yes, well, I know you do. I'm going to turn my volume down just a little bit. I talk loud like naturally, but I had it up all the way because I was just on a webinar. So I'm like, whoo, goodness, I'm getting some feedback on my loud now. So I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. Thank you to everyone who has joined us already. We appreciate you watching as always. And I love that, excuse me, we are following up this topic after last week's topic of baking items and spices and kind of cleaning all that out and getting it ready for holiday baking. This is only a natural next topic as we prepare our grocery list. Paige, this morning on the news, there was this big I can't remember what channel I was on, but there was this big conversation about turkeys and specifically how people are buying either smaller, and like as an industry, these people who raise turkeys this year, because of the smaller gatherings, there's going to be a larger offer of smaller turkeys, or people just buying like the turkey breasts, because our traditional large Thanksgiving gatherings, of course, look so different this year. So anyway, I just thought about that since we're talking about groceries and preparing for holiday meals. Even though they're going to look a little bit different, we still need to be ready, get our list ready, get yucky stuff out of the refrigerator, if it's expired or
Yes.
So, yeah, very timely topic.
Yeah, I think so too. And I made reference to this in the blog I wrote for today's Tip Tuesday, but you may not be able to implement these tips this year all the way, but the good thing about my blog is that you can search for it later if you need it.
That's exactly right. And speaking of that, let me go ahead and pop your website up there.
Okay.
And let's get that ticking. There it is right there. All right, folks, always know to go to shepherdorganizing.com. And y'all bear with me on my glasses. I have to have my glasses to see my notes, but it's like some pair, there's a worse glare on them than others. And so this will be like musical glasses day because I can't quite, like the sun coming in through the window is like, strong glare. So anyway, y'all need to listen to Paige anyway, not me.
You just do what you need to do, Michelle. I want you to be able to see us.
Well, that's enough about my glasses. Let's talk about groceries and refrigerators.
Yes. Okay. Well, like Michelle said, it is a great time here, November 17th, to declutter and clean out your fridge to prepare for holiday meals. And even though it might look a little different, you'll probably still have some leftovers. So it's a good time to prepare for that too, because I remember growing up, that was like, my family would cook, everybody had their jobs, we'd be at my Meemaw's house, and then it came time to put it all away, and everyone was like, where are we going to put this? There's no room in the fridge to put the leftovers. And so this little tip will help you prepare for that. And just, I think, as with everything I share, the more prepared you are, the more organized you are in different areas, it just makes things run more smoothly and it's less stressful. And especially around the holidays, there's no need to be stressed when you can just put forth a little bit of effort on the front end to make things run a little smoother. So
that's right.
Before you create your grocery list, I suggest decluttering your fridge and freezer. And I've said this a million times, but I wrote a blog about that before. It was actually last year or earlier this year, when I did a blog for 31 days. It was day one of my my challenge, and was cleaning out your refrigerator. And so I will, whenever I link my blog on my post and then on Michelle's post, I will make sure that I put this blog link in there too. But
Awesome.
the first step is to take it all out. And that seems like a pain, but it's worth it. It's always worth it. So you take it all out and clean your refrigerator. So I don't think you need anything harsh. You don't need to do anything super fancy. Sometimes just hot water and soap will do the trick. So whatever cleaners you need. Whenever I clean out my fridge, I use a little handheld vacuum to get the corners and
the crumbs,
the seal, because my freezer's below. So the seal, anyways. But that's a good trick. And it's good to make sure that the outside of your refrigerators is cleaned too. And like where the vents are, if they've sucked up dust, it's collected there. It's just a good time to go ahead and clean it all. And then you're going to want to declutter and purge the items that you no longer need. If they're expired or moldy or the wrong consistency, they need to go. And so as you purge, it's good to keep either a mental list or a handwritten list of things that you need to replenish. So as you're doing that, after you've sorted through and you've made a list or a stack of things to donate or trash, take what's left and group like things together and put your items back in. And you can either just put them in on the shelves that come in the refrigerator, or you can use little fridge bins, or I even have used turntables in people's refrigerators before. It just depends on what's best for your space. Just make sure, you're not putting the small items way back in the back, and that you've wiped off all the sticky condiment bottles. If you're going through all the work, you might as well do those things that don't take very long.
Absolutely.
So you determine the best place to put your stuff back, kind of what makes sense, things that you need to get easier, like more readily, keep it towards the front or in a drawer. And then you do the same thing with the freezer. And so keeping a tidy fridge, just in general, not even related to the holidays, it always helps you to know what you have, keeps you from overbuying, that kind of thing. So that is my first step, my first portion of today's tip. And then once you finish that, you take a deep breath and think about Thanksgiving coming up.
You're like, whoa, I got that part done.
Yes. So, it's important to make sure you allow yourself plenty of time to do this task. And if you have a refrigerator that's going to take you a while, you just know when you open it, if stuff falls out, it's going to take a minute, but it will be worth it.
Well, that, and I think one of the things that I run into, not all of the time, but from time to time, if something has leaked or the lid hasn't been put on properly or something with my condiments, or something that's in a jar that's like in the door part, it's all sticky under there. Sometimes I'm like, how in the world did that happen? Like, did it get spilled going in? Like, or was the lid not on and it got jarred? But I'll find sometimes when I do determine okay, today is refrigerator clean out day and I'm taking everything out. That would be my number one thing, I guess, that I would find would be like just the stickiness from the jars. And that's still just one of those. How did that even happen?
I think I know, because I've wondered the same thing, and I have the type of personality, I can't just wonder about it and move on and figure it out. Like when you pour something, and sometimes it drips down the side of it. When you put it back in the fridge, it's still dripping down the container, and so it just kind of it's on. Anyways, there's probably lots of reasons.
The key is to like wipe them off every single time. I just don't see myself doing that with all these pickles, because I love pickles and I have so many pickles.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
Jalapenos and oh my goodness.
I don't do that either. I just occasionally go in and wipe up the messes.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, only halfway doing this job is not going to be nearly as effective. You're not going to notice that you're saving time, money, and space if you don't do it thoroughly. So make sure you block off enough time to get it tackled. Even if you have interruptions and you have to do it in segments, that's okay. Just make up your mind to get it tackled. So you'll take an inventory of what food items you have left on hand. And this doesn't have to be like official. It can be mental for most people. But if you need to write it down, you can write it down, because knowing what you have is what keeps you from overspending. It keeps you from making last minute trips, and it keeps you from wasting food also. This happens to me too. You buy produce, a bag of salad, it gets pushed back in the crisper drawer, and then it's brown, and you're like, when did I even buy that? It happens to everyone, but this, staying on top of this task will prevent that from happening as often. So before you start writing a grocery list, obviously you'll have a list of things that you have discarded from your fridge that you need to replenish, but I would think it's best for you to think through a few things before you start. So especially for holiday prep, like we talked about earlier, 2020 gatherings are going to be different, but I still think it's good for us to be prepared. So here's three things to think through before you start your grocery list. You want to think through the date of your gatherings. For some people, it's just one on Thanksgiving Day, but some people have multiple stops to make, or it just depends on what all you've got going on. And this will also apply for Christmas if you are celebrating with your families for that holiday too. And the second thing you want to think through is the number of people attending the gathering. Again, that's going to look different for everyone. Maybe it's just like the people who live in your home, your immediate family. Maybe it's your whole family. Think through the number of people attending so that you can be prepared with enough of everything. And then lastly, you'll want to just make a mental note of any special allergies or food restrictions that you need to consider, that you need to be aware of. So if you I have two little tips, two little things that I think are important to do. If you're planning to order anything from a catering company or a bakery or any other kind of business, it is November 17th and Thanksgiving.
Might not better wait until, next week.
Exactly. I would go ahead and do it like yesterday. So once you've gone through these steps and you know what you need, don't wait, because there's probably a lot of these companies are going to be bombarded this year, and you don't want to, end up in a bind and not have what you need. So think through that ahead of time. But then if you're attending multiple gatherings and maybe you're not hosting, you're just, you're attending different places, I think it's smart, if you can, to volunteer to bring the same thing to all of the different places.
Oh,
If you can't bring the very same thing, you can at least bring something similar, so that you aren't making an entire meal and taking it to 3 or 4 different places.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Making 3 or 4 different desserts. It's just, it just helps you in your prep time, and it helps with shopping. So,
well, and a little plug for Good Eating. If you need any ideas on what to take, Daniel and I last week just made a spinach gratin. It really makes a lot, even without doubling the recipe. It makes a whole lot. But if you do have 2 or 3 different gatherings to go to, make the spinach gratin. It's really good, and it goes a long way. And of course, there's other recipes too if you're not a spinach person. But yeah, just a big shout out for Good Eating. Come on over and watch us or ask us about a recipe.
Definitely. They are always posting some really fancy things, but with a simple way to make it. So it'll make you're professional chef. Great. Okay. So you will, if most people know traditional recipes by heart, but maybe you want to try something new. So make sure you've got your recipes handy if you need them. And then think through different food item categories as you sit down to make your grocery list. So I'll list all these on my blog, but you want to think through meat and protein. You want to think through dairy and dry goods and beverages and produce and spices. And you don't want to forget your serving supplies, your paper goods, cleaning supplies, things like that. I think if you can make one grocery trip, or at the very least do it all in one day, maybe one outing, it's going to save you so much time. So now that you've done the hard work, after you've made your list, you've thought through everything you need, you're feeling good, you've got your coupons ready to go. do it. Don't wait until the
Right.
bitter end because
Yeah.
that's miserable. And it seems like a lot of effort, and some people are just like, yeah, I'll just get what I need when I need to get it. But that's what everyone does. And so the store is always busy and the lines are long and you're getting griped at because you got sent to go get the canola oil and you're gonna be late getting back. It's just better if you can do these things ahead of time. And I would just encourage you after you've done this hard work to not put off the actual shopping. So that's all
Yeah.
I got. It seems pretty simple, but sometimes it just helps to have reminders of things to think through.
It absolutely does. I'm sure that everyone can think of a situation, myself included, where you're in the kitchen, you're getting everything gathered, and you realize, I don't have any flour, I don't have any oil, I don't have X. And you send your spouse or your child or whoever to the store. It's the same exact scenario you just described. And it takes them forever. Like, what took you so long? But it was the day of or the day before when everybody's in there. So, yeah, I went back to the turkey talk that I saw this morning on the news. My mind immediately went to, oh, what do I need? You know, we already actually have a turkey in the freezer, but my mind went beyond that to, oh, it is the 17th. I need to make sure I've got all my goods here.
Yeah, no, that's very smart to already begin thinking about it. And like we said, even though it looks a little different this year, there's still a lot to celebrate. And so whether your gathering is just like normal or your gathering is significantly smaller, there's still so much to be thankful for. And I think when we can get things like this out of the way, it takes away the stress and just it helps me to refocus my heart on what really matters.
Right. So that we can just really enjoy and, like you said, do the work on the front end. And then when we do have friends or family come over in those small gatherings, we truly can spend that quality time together without scurrying around trying to find the oil or the flour. As always, just a great conversation, wonderful tips. So thank you again, Paige. For everyone watching, thank you as well for tuning in. Thank you for your continued support. One more reminder, you can go to shepherdorganizing.com to see the blog that Paige wrote a while back, as well as her full array of services and schedule a consultation if you need that. So be sure and check that out. I think that is it until we see you next year, everybody. Next year. Oh my goodness, next week. I'm like, where did that even come from?
I just thought we were
At least I caught myself. We'll see you next week or we're skipping Thanksgiving week. Yeah, I think stay tuned to the Facebook page. Clearly, I'm unorganized right here live with the organizer extraordinaire. I can't even remember. It's because I have too many shows going on. I'll edit out all that part.
It's so good. I like it.
We'll see you next time, whenever that is. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.